All right, and we are back with the Blame Girl podcast with Mr. Terry Wayne. I'll say it since he was muted.
Oh.
Always
No,
talking.
it came up with the live thing came up and I
All right,
couldn't.
and we are. Yeah, it came up late.
Yeah.
I was quick. Don't even say anything. All right.
That's fine.
And then we got my best conservative friend, Jayson Matherin, in the house. Welcome, Jayson. I'm glad you did.
Thank you, Theo. I'm so glad your other friend rejected your offer too, and I was a good soul.
She's listening tonight, so
Who is she?
I don't know if she wants me to disclose that, so I will not.
We'll leave it a mystery.
That's right. How was your weekend, Jay?
It was great. How was yours?
It was great as well. I think our weekends were kind of the same. No, you see
Yeah,
how Jay?
I like your onesie.
You see that, Terry? Terry, you see that?
I see what?
He asked me how my weekend was.
Okay.
And
Terry, do you want to go home? Like you're just like already checked out.
No, I'm trying to share.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll let Terry share while we talk about our weekends. We went out of town for our other really good friend, who remains to be nameless, her birthday, and we went to St. Augustine. How fun was it, Jay?
It's a blast. Very weird town.
Why was it weird?
Oh, it's interesting. Karaoke was very interesting. Beautiful Christmas lights. Great lights.
Yeah, we did karaoke. We walked a lot. I like the walking part.
Yeah, my legs were pretty sore today.
I know mine were yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. Terry, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Getting things ready for a big journey here to Tennessee in March.
Have you found a place yet?
No, not yet, but we still have.
You're moving to
that.
Tennessee?
I am.
Why?
Yep. Huh?
Why?
Because it makes good financial sense.
Are you going to start a moonshine brewery or something?
No, I think I'm going to start a restaurant.
All right.
We'll be making some trips to Tennessee very, very soon. Definitely.
Actually, what I'd really like to do is start a sandwich shop, because there's not a there. They always do. The overhead's pretty good.
You make good hot food. I don't know how I feel about that.
I make good food, period.
Don't get any spokespeople that are child molesters.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have a spokesperson in general. But
no Jared for you?
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm lost. But then
remember with that when the scandal? Yeah.
All right. So you just spent the weekend packing or what? Just planning?
Yeah, packing, looking at stuff up there, and got all my Christmas shopping done. That was nice.
What'd you get me?
What did I get you?
Yes.
Season's greetings. That's what
Wonderful.
I got.
I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. All right. Y'all ready to get into some blaming?
Well, you're to blame, but sure.
All right. So, as many may know, Brittany Griner, she is back from Russia, out of prison, and people are mad. Who's to blame, y'all?
Go ahead, Jayson.
You spelled your name wrong in the thing you sent me. You spelled Brittany.
I saw that. That was I don't know, typo.
That was a big typo.
No, it deleted what I had and put that. I don't know. But anyway.
Right. It's been pretty political, right?
So what do you think? Who's to blame? Why are people mad that Brittany Griner's back? Let me ask you this. Are you mad?
Doesn't bother me one bit.
You're conservative. It doesn't bother you one bit?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think it bothers people?
Well, they picked one detainee over and not the other one. The guy that was in there for espionage, and he's still there.
So you think it's because of who they picked?
That's why they're mad, yeah.
I don't know about that, because the thing that I keep thinking is, we don't even know if that guy was on the table Like, because you got to remember, it's not like we went to a grocery store and just picked out a prisoner. You know what I mean? Like, it's a negotiation between two large governments. So, and that guy is there for under suspicion of espionage, which is a huge world away of difference between that and having a little hash oil on you, you know?
Yeah.
Which she shouldn't have been in jail in the first place, you know? And if she would have been in jail, I mean, I think here, if you get caught in a state where that's illegal in the same amount in the same condition, you get like 14 days in jail. They gave her 9 years. That's bananas. I mean, and the timing right around the invasion of Ukraine and our support of Ukraine, like it was a political move. That's why
It was political, is what it sounds like you're saying to begin with.
Sure. And here's the thing. I would not put it past the Russian government to just say, oh, here's someone that we think is a celebrity, which isn't. I mean, I'm sorry. The best player in the WNBA is nobody. Like, you know what I mean? He's still a nobody, you know? And we all know that. But they don't. You know, they're like, oh, she's an athlete. She plays in the WNBA. Okay, well, here's what we'll do. We could plant some stuff, or we could just say we found it in her bag. It's because she claims, even now, that she didn't know it was in there. She doesn't say she doesn't smoke weed. She just said she didn't know that was in there. Well, if you're Russia, I mean, they're known to be a little devious.
Yeah, they treat it like that. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone think that Biden has a part to blame? Did he just make a bad call here?
No. Because, I mean, when you think about it, you have choices, right? As a government, you have choices on what you do in a situation like this. And we've done it all the time. When I was a teenager, it was some kid that got caught in China doing some graffiti, and they like sentenced him to like 20 lashes. And then everyone in America was like, 20 lashes? We don't do that. And they're like, well, we do it here. Yeah. You remember that whole situation?
We were like, he got a whipping? They whipping him over there as a punishment? No, I remember that. But
yeah, with like a bamboo stalk or something.
You're like subject to their laws. And, you know, I mean.
Right. But here's the thing. If we said that it's wrong to hold Brittany for 9 years in this, what options do you really have? Because we're not going to war over a WNBA player. We're just not. We wouldn't go to war over LeBron, you know?
We didn't go to war over the Marine. So.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can either negotiate, you can trade, or you can just ask nicely, but they don't really have to do it if they don't want to. So, I mean, to the people that are angry about it, who's to blame for their anger? They are. The people that are angry about this situation just want to be politically angry. That's the thing.
Angry.
You don't give a shit about some Russian oligarch that sold, you know, weapons to Afghanistan after the war that Russia had with Afghanistan.
But you know why they don't like her? It's because she's taken a knee, and they're like, she hates America. I've been hearing Tucker Carlson saying it over and over again. She hates America. So I think that's the conservatives' argument. They're just like, oh, she stood up again, you know, she took the knee. Like,
to be honest, and no offense to you, Jayson, but conservatives nowadays, they don't really care about points or policies or this or that. It's just owning the libs, you know, whatever the liberal consensus is, the opposite of that is what they're going to believe in, regardless. Like,
I think it's both ways, though.
Democrats
are no better. They're just a different extreme.
I agree, sort of, but it's not nearly as much on the left that it is on the right. Because the right kind of came together and they were like, yep, we all know who we're hating, and we all know the problems we hate, and we're going to go down the checklist of all the problems that we hate. I mean, a perfect example is the CRT thing. We will not teach. I'm going to make a law that says you can't teach critical race theory in schools. Yeah, nobody ever fucking has. You can't give me one example of one public school from kindergarten to 12th grade that has ever taught a class or a curriculum on critical race theory. And we spent millions of dollars in multiple states to outlaw something that didn't fucking exist.
They be lying. I'll just say that.
It's not even about lying. It's modern day America propaganda.
They lie like Casey Anthony, y'all.
Oh, there's the transition.
They lie like people think Casey Anthony lied. Well, this weekend on my road trip, I got a chance to watch the Casey Anthony documentary. And, after watching it, a lot of people, they have, they believe it, the documentary and what's shared in it, it casts doubt upon Casey Anthony's guilt. Mind you, she was not convicted, but she was convicted in the.
Neither was OJ.
She was convicted in the. So, who's to blame, y'all? Why do y'all think that this documentary is casting doubt upon her guilt? Did y'all get a chance to check any of it out?
I have not watched it yet. I did take your recommendation, so we're probably going to watch it tonight or tomorrow. But I mean, why didn't she say all of this before when she was actually on trial for her life? My first instinct is to go, well, it takes time to come up with a lie that's going to work, and be convincing. But then again, I haven't seen the thing, so I don't know.
Watching it, you're thinking she's still lying.
I'm just saying it does take time to come up with a bulletproof scenario, for anything, for anybody, But I mean, I remember the trial. I don't remember all of the details, but I remember thinking like, yeah, she killed that kid,
I mean, that's what definitely all the media wanted us to think. And then, but you gotta remember, she was acquitted, so she wasn't found guilty. But again, OJ.
And again, so was OJ. But
hey, what did you have a chance to check it out?
I've read the articles. I haven't watched it. No, I didn't listen to you either. Just like Terry, I didn't watch it. But I guess now her story is contradictory to the entire trial.
Not necessarily. Like, with her testimony during the trial, she did bring up the.
She didn't testify though.
Well, her defense did bring up like the sexual abuse. Right. That's kind of the argument she's making now. But she also, okay, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll just tell you. Spoiler alert. She basically
throw some bullet points out.
She basically blames her dad. Okay, she says that her dad he abused her from a young age, until she was about 12, and then that's when the brother started abusing her. Not long after that, and after she had Casey, she thought that she was still living at home. She thought the dad would abuse Kaylee, but she would never leave Kaylee alone with the dad. But the night in question, she went to sleep. She wakes up. Kaylee's gone because Kaylee had gone to bed with her. And then her dad brings a limp Kaylee to her that's wet and is like, look what you did. And then made her be quiet about it for about, the 30 days. And then the thing that was compelling to me was finding out that her dad, he was saying in the media that he believed it was an accident, but he was the main witness for the grand jury to try her for the death penalty. Like, he was the only witness. So why would you say one thing about it being an accident and then next thing you know, you're the main witness to get your daughter murdered? So also, there was shoddy police work, in my opinion, because they didn't subpoena dad's phone records, but they subpoenaed hers. And he should have been a suspect because he lived in the house. But you know what? He was a good old boy police officer, and they just listened to him, and he like kind of helped them with the investigation. Conflict of interest. So all these things speak to me. It speaks to me in the manner that like you don't believe women when they say they've been abused. You know, she tried to tell her mom, she told other people, and they came forward and said something. And then two guys that knew her back then, that were her boyfriend's friends, who hated her, they kind of changed their tune after hearing about what the dad did, because they knew the dad, and they were like, the dad lied a lot too, also. So I don't know.
How do you feel about her being in your own backyard?
I think the dad probably put her there because that's what she said. What?
Her living down here now. Didn't you meet her before? In some anti-Trump rally?
Another thing. Yeah, she does live here in West Palm Beach. She lived for a long time with her attorney.
Private investigator.
No, she lived with her attorney that defended her. She works for, I guess it was the private investigator.
Yeah.
She lived with them. And I just don't see that happening. Like you just welcoming someone that you know,
no way.
The case. And he invited her, and his family invited her into their home. So I think that I can see the media attacking this woman. We didn't believe her when she said she was abused. And then dad being the fucking good old boy, and all the cops ignoring him as a suspect. So I think it's
I don't know. That's, to me, I mean, that all sounds, why are you hearing about it now, years later? And you know,
because I mean, she was like, what are you taught? You taught to like hate this bitch. She's the worst human on the planet. She killed her daughter for sure and got away with it. That's why, because that's who you are in the public eye. You can't come out and like, I posted about it and somebody was like, well, you know, I hope that her dad does rape her now for blaming him for saying that he raped her. And I was like, yo, you need to watch the fucking documentary because maybe she was really raped by her dad. What do you know? You know?
I mean, maybe she was, but I don't care. Like, just because your dad abused you doesn't mean you didn't kill your daughter. You know what I mean? In fact, it kind of lends credence to the fact that maybe you did kill your daughter. Maybe you're not mentally sound. Maybe all that abuse makes some emotional scars. But again, it doesn't matter. None of this matters.
If she thinks that the dad was, you know, planning on starting to abuse her daughter and accidentally killed. Well, I mean, that was the first time Kaylee was alone with the dad. You know, she hadn't left her alone with the dad. And then next thing you know, dad turns up with her and she's dead. So he also said the dad said that told her to keep quiet for those 30 days. And I think that that's total abuser behavior. You know, like he's still manipulating her, controlling the situation so that he can come off exonerated where she can't. So
I guess Rosie O'Donnell really liked the series, right? She believes it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You didn't read the article? That's what it said in the article. It said Rosie O'Donnell felt.
I started laughing, but at least she's got Rosie O'Donnell supporting her.
I'm like Rosie O'Donnell in these streets. We agree on Casey Anthony. So I don't know.
I'm gonna have to watch this thing because you know, this is like
dad looked into. I want a investigation opened up against this motherfucker because he thought he got away with it. He thought he was gonna pin it on her.
And so she was just ready to face the death penalty just to protect dad.
Well, no, after everything, she just was like, I'm not going to say that I killed my daughter. I didn't. That's why she never took settlement agreement. Because, you know, they tried to settle the case and have her just say, you know, they tried to give her all kind of outs. Like, just say it was an accident. Like, you know, she went and drowned or this and that. And she was like, no, that's not what happened. And she's like, I mean, it just, and then she's done a lot of therapy, and I think we need to listen a little bit more to what the therapists are saying about her. Cause you know, like they showed like how the media is like, oh, she is a sociopath. And then she's had all these therapists analyze her, and she's not a sociopath. She's actually a survivor of sexual abuse. So they agree
I don't
with
think
that.
she's a sociopath. I think she's a psychopath. I think she has
They
no.
analyze her for that. That's pretty much the same thing, but yeah. So
Well, no, what I'm saying is, and it again, the abuse kind of lends credence to it because a lot of people who suffer or have psychopathy, it gets triggered by emotional distress. Like, say, if your father, sexually abused you, and they just shut down emotionally.
well, that's what they kind of said about how her response to the trauma, right? She didn't respond normally to trauma because of her own abuse and her being so young. She just kind of pretended like it wasn't happening. Because you're like, when I'm hearing her say that her dad like had this limp kid in his hands and was like, I'll deal with it. My instinct is like, she knew that kid was dead then, but her response to it was to just act like that wasn't the case. And yeah, she lied to the cops about where she worked and all that, but that's stupid, like teenager stuff. She was young, she's like, oh yeah, I worked here. She did work for them. And oh, this apartment, her friend did live there, but I don't know why she would do that. But I wasn't in that position. I didn't.
Again, I'm going to have to watch this because is there any evidence supporting any of this, or are you just listening to her talk and give her?
I say like the therapist, some of the therapists, and then yeah, like I mean, people were like, well, why didn't she bring up the abuse before? But she did bring it up to certain people before.
Who cares about the abuse?
Well, the abuse explains her behavior upon learning that her kid was dead.
Mm. Okay, but it also equally explains the fact that she killed her kid.
Okay, just watch.
Just saying, you can go either way with this.
I'm not like a big advocate of, but I definitely think it's worth watching, and it leaves me thinking. I don't know that everything was done to find the right person who killed Kaylee, and I think it was easier than they made it seem. But they had this one guy a man that lived in the house with this kid that was a grandpa, and they completely overlooked him, let him help them with the investigation. And he's out here saying one thing and, doing something different behind closed doors. They didn't even look into him. So it's just.
So what you're saying is you want to find the real killers.
I want him charged.
You want to find the real killers, just like OJ.
No, OJ. I'm not.
That's what he said. He said he wasn't going to stop till he found the real killers.
Yeah, but OJ seemed like he was lying. I can't with OJ. We're not talking about OJ. Watch this.
I look into Casey Anthony's eyes and I see nothing. I see lifeless doll eyes. That's what I see.
Okay.
Every time I see her, literally, I'm like, ugh, puts a chill down my spine.
Jayson, you got anything else to add?
I'm Switzerland on this one.
You're switching in?
That's Switzerland. Nothing.
He's Switzerland. He's neutral.
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about 11 years ago.
What did you think at the time?
I don't know. I remember Nancy Grace used to just drive me nuts. She still does. But Nancy Grace, that's when she really became annoying during that 6-week trial. She was relentless. Do you remember?
Yeah. She's probably part of the reason.
And now she's on Fox News or something, right? CNN and Fox.
All right. We got the other Jayson in the house. He says nobody knows psychopathy like someone self-abusing with cigarettes.
Oh, that's mean.
Jokes to both Terry and Wayne on visual appearance day only. What's her rate of scale from 1 to 10? I mean, Terry and Jayson. What's her rate of a scale of a 1 to 10? They want to know how hot. He wants to know how hot you think that she is. That's so bad.
Well, that's
I don't care. Who gives a shit about that? She's a monster.
Yeah. Well, a lot
You're
of
gonna
guys
wind up like Jodi Arias' boyfriend.
That's right. No, I don't want to say that's right because I'm like on the other end now. I'm like, I don't know. But anyway. No,
Are
we
you
got
friends with her now?
no. What are you talking about? I don't know her. I don't really want to get to know her either. I
Who?
don't want that negative energy in my life.
Jodi Arias?
Nope. I don't want to be friends with
No.
her. I want to be friends with drag queens. I want to be
Do
friends
you?
with yeah. They tell me when my
You're already
hair
friends with one. So.
they tell me when my hair is fucked up and stuff. But you know
You
who
won't
does
let them touch your hair, though, will you?
if they ask.
All right.
If they ask.
Is that what I do wrong? I don't ask. I just do it.
But you know who does want to mess
Touch your
with
hair?
drag? No. You know who does want to mess with drag queens in a different way is whoever attacked the North Carolina power grid. I don't know if it's true or not. They have not been able to confirm it, but these right-wing extremist group, they were blamed for attacking the power grid in North Carolina. Who's to blame? I know we don't know it's true, but why do you think that that's who's being blamed right now?
Well, I mean, any terrorist group is going to come out and claim ownership over an attack. That's the whole point. The whole point is for you to know that it's them. So if they haven't taken ownership over it yet, people are just blindly pointing fingers in the dark, you know?
Well, it was someone that I guess knows the group, and she said that she knows who did it, and it was because of the drag brunch. And they shot at the grid, and I said, I know it was right-wing extremists because they used guns to shoot at it. But, I was just making a joke, but I don't think.
Well, I mean, but that's like the dumbest terrorist attack ever, at the same time. It's like, just shoot the Transformers,
Yeah, let's kill us all. Like,
didn't you learn anything from Al Qaeda? Like, put some effort into it, make some plans.
At least blow one of y'all up. No, I shouldn't say that.
Wow.
I know.
Terrorism is bad.
It's not an isolated incident. I don't think it is. I think we're going to see more of this. Do you think it's really drag queens' faults, though?
That the power grid got. I'm finding a hard time making the connection between a power grid and a drag queen.
Well, they have brunch, so they're teaching kids about gay stuff, I guess. And
so if there's no power, they can't eat brunch.
That'll stop them.
That'll stop them. Take out their power so they can't have brunch.
You ain't got power.
Right. It's gonna be hard to groom our children when them scrambled eggs aren't there, isn't it? That whole thing is stupid. I mean, the whole you got to remember one of the main right-wing war tactics is always pick a disenfranchised group that's already maligned and then just blame shit on them. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. Like they used to blame the Black Plague on Jews, it's ridiculous. It's stupid. But people need, especially with big problems, they need a big answer, they need some big conspiracy so they can wrap their heads around the world.
Yeah.
Every 5-10 years we get a new one. And this is trans people and LGBTQ, they're just the latest,
They've been going to drag brunch and drag story time and drag this for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Drag story time. Oh my God.
Around kids.
Well, yeah, because that's one of the other tactics is you always involve children, because that's where you get column inches. That's where you get minutes on air. You get those stories, drag people in. What about the children? Oh.
Yeah. CRT. What about the children?
In the 90s, it was the same way. It was like, if you let gay people just be out in society and be and work at places, they're going to convert your kids to be gay. Let me tell you something. If somebody can talk you into sucking a dick, you wanted to suck a dick. You know?
$20 is $20.
I'll be honest with you. Nobody ever talked me into pussy, and it's ruined my life several times, you know? Like, nobody ever had to talk me into being straight. I just was, you know what I mean? It's not like there weren't offers on the table to go the other way. I was just like, that ain't for me, dog. You know, that's it.
I want to know why Jayson Pelish just said that the only people who benefit from drag story time are conservatives. How does that make sense for me, Jayson?
That's a great
Hey,
question.
Jayson, let me tell you something. It's kind of like the upset parents with the. I don't want my kids reading books about this or that. I don't want my kids reading about. If your kids reading at all, good for you and good for them. Don't stop them, okay? If they start reading Mein Kampf or something, yeah, maybe like steer them away from that. But you're like, hey, at least he's reading. You know what I mean?
Maybe we should keep Kanye's kids away from him in that case. Okay, no.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's dog whistle politics. You scream off the mountaintops about all the terrible things in the world, and there's no shortage of idiots that will lap it up. That's why QAnon got so big. Because what do? You take something that people want to be true and seems noble, and then spin it together. You know what I mean? Spin a little yarn about it, and people will buy it and shoot up pizza places if they have to.
So
it's
Jayson
Tom Hanks is a pedophile in a cabal of child trafficking sex cults. Get the fuck out of here. Come on.
Okay, so Jayson says that people should just accept anyone who wants to read to kids. It galvanizes the conservative base. Conservatives love to be outraged. Okay, you're going on too much. Exactly, Terry.
It gives them something to scream about. Drag queen story time. Yeah, again, they're reading. It's a good thing.
So, but you know what? They hate drag queens who read, but they love football players who can't. You know what I'm saying? They are so upset that Herschel Walker lost to Raphael Warnock by 3 percentage points, guys. Who's to blame? I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't more, because Herschel Walker was such a bad candidate.
Yeah, he really needs to learn how to talk better.
A football player, what do you expect?
It's kind of the biggest part of politics is, you know, talk good. That's it.
Public speaking.
It's kind of the main job.
It's not just that, it's like the moral of his character also was really bad. But they were just,
well,
what do you like? Is it Trump? Was it because he was Trump's boy?
Well, Trump backed candidates did lose quite a bit. I mean, I think there was only like 2 or 3 that actually got elected out of all of them that were there.
Good.
Well, I think people are just done with the craziness, and Republicans, and we've talked about this many times. I was a Republican. Republicans will vote down ballot Republican all the way. That audience is locked in, right? But it's the independents that you lost with the voter fraud bullshit and it's a conspiracy against Trump and this and that. You lost all your independents. No, everybody got tired of being looked at like they were crazy, you know?
Yep.
So the independents, I'm not saying they went and flipped and voted blue. I think they just didn't vote at all. I think they just said, well, I'm not voting in this election. This is stupid, you know? And then your anti-Trump crowd came out just like they did in 2020. And I mean, it's a good sign for the country, at least. I mean, because you can debate the idealisms.
Is it because it was like 100,000 votes out of millions that he lost by, and I feel like it should be greater because, again, he can't. articulate himself well, and he is a bad person. His
Well,
kid, like
it's not about the fact that he won or lost. You got to get off that, because again,
it's
the
not how much that he lost.
Republicans are gonna vote Republican. Period. If you're on that team, you're on that team all the way.
Let's ask a Republican. Like, Jayson, you haven't said anything on this topic. What do you think?
I would agree with you. You've got to be scared if you're losing by or barely winning by 100,000 votes out of millions. 3%?
Yeah.
Nah.
And in a runoff?
The fact that
you're like a pastor, you're the actual religious person that, conservatives act like just doesn't.
Well, if you'll notice during that campaign, there weren't really a whole lot of attacks against Warnock, right? There weren't a whole lot of, it was more of an attack against, oh, look at how badly they're treating Herschel. They never really went after Warnock that hard. And I think that's because he is a pastor, and he's not just a pastor. He's the pastor of the church that produced Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
So it's a real bad look if you start trying to, whip up controversy about that too. But Jayson said you should be worried that you only won by 100,000 votes. Yeah, you only won by 100,000 votes in a state that is famously red, and Obama lost twice. So, and Obama is the most charismatic politician we've had in 50 since Reagan. It's a
little harder couldn't get Stacey Abrams through either. So you're right. It's a little harder to slide them on through there. I
right.
agree.
Exactly. I mean, nobody's talking about the fact that Kemp won in a walk, So when it came to, Herschel Walker, those independents just said, nah, I can't in good conscience put this man in the Senate. But I think the bigger thing is it's a statement. It's a statement that conservatives are making. They're saying just by putting up people like Dr. Oz and putting up people like Herschel Walker, and then people voting for them, is basically Republicans saying, this is how much we hate the agenda that you Democrats are pushing. We hate it so much that we will vote for anybody with an R next to their name. Anybody, put them up. It doesn't matter. Mussolini, go for it. He's going to get at least 35% of the vote.
Like horrible. They're carried. They could be sleeping with kids or.
Doesn't matter. They just don't want to acknowledge the world is changing. And
it's very sad.
Hey, look, make American great again. That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I always ask, whenever somebody mentions that, I always ask, okay, when was that?
Okay, Brittany.
When was America great? What are we trying to get back to? The 50s or the 80s or the 90s? Or when you trying to go to? Because
Brittany Griner.
Back to the days when Brittany Garner was the best basketball player in the WNBA. Maybe we'll look back there.
Yeah, right. I think it's more just a very subtle way of saying we liked it better when women were in the kitchen, gays were in the closet, and blacks were in the field. That's what I think it really means.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but it does really mean that. But why is there so many brothers that be on their side? That's what I don't get. Like Alan West. He's like looking for the shining hill on the city. Nigga, you wouldn't live in that city. You're too dark. You can't pass.
I think it's money. Obviously, it always comes down to money.
If it does,
you think if Candace Owen made $30,000, you think if Candace Owens made $30,000 a year, she'd be saying the thing she's saying now? Come on.
She'd definitely be a liberal because she's only making 30.
If she was broke, come on.
It's about that money, huh?
Yeah. Politics in America right now, and I'll say for the last 10 years at minimum, it's probably more than that. It's probably like the last 15 years. It's just so stupid and asinine. Like nobody's like, oh, I want you to speak for me and lead the country and make my life better. Like, honestly, what politician in the last 15 years has actually made your personal life better, save maybe Obama with the American Health Care Act? You know,
Which the
my
deadline's
father's a conservative. My father would never vote for Obama, but he's on Obamacare right now.
Oof.
So, like,
Wow.
come on. And still bashes it.
Own it.
Wiley's on it.
Against
He's
his own.
on it because it's cheaper and more efficient for his life, and still bashes it.
Uh-oh,
Like, that's
got
how
somebody else in
deep
the house.
this is. It's deep because all he thinks is like, you know, abortion and gays are getting married, and you know what I mean? Like,
all right, let me get in here.
It's a culture war.
I just want to read a couple more comments from Jayson. We got Megan in the house. Hey, Megan.
Oh, that'll change things. Let's hear from Jayson again.
I know, right? He says that the results don't matter. What matters is the spiritual evolution of conservatives and liberals. It can't ever be greater, or it dispels the illusion of there being a legit debate.
Well, answer me this there, Jayson. Why is it that conservatives are always screaming about freedom, and they're always the first people that want to take freedoms away from other people? If you're all about freedom, then why don't women have a freedom of choice in a lot of states right now? If you're all about freedom, then why isn't a gay couple free to get married if you had your choice? You know, why are you always taking freedoms away from everybody else while you're screaming freedom, you know, with your, never mind. So asinine.
Why are the Jaysons both so conservative? I don't know. All right. I want to welcome our guests. Like I said, sometimes
I wouldn't say this Jayson. Why I'm going to call him Y Jayson, so we don't get him mixed up with pelish. This Jayson does not seem like a hardcore conservative to me.
Wait till
known you for a few years.
Wait till he tries to wear a DeSantis hat when you're hanging out with him. Okay, I want to welcome. This is my best conservative friend, Jayson Mathurin, and people ask me, like, they think that I'm just so like, oh, I just hate I don't hate conservatives. They're people too. Jayson has been an amazing friend, but he has shit politics, and if my friends have shit politics, I'll tell them. So Jayson, no shade, I love you. I didn't mean to just be like, oh, you have shit politics, but you're conservatives, and everyone knows what I think, and you even know what I think. But with that said, calling your politics shit, welcome.
42 minutes in, I finally get a welcome.
Yeah, you don't
Typical
watch
Democrat.
You don't watch the show. So why are you a conservative? Why do you love Trump? Why do you love DeSantis? Explain yourself.
Financial, and I don't want government intrusion. Very anti-government politics and big government.
So you're more like a libertarian. I can't stand libertarian. You don't mind
I'm
gay
very
things?
fiscally conservative, and I care more about finances than I do social issues for the most part.
Yeah, but see, this is where I always have to jump ship here, because there are certain conservative principles and idealisms on the Republican Party that I happen to agree with as well. Mainly fiscal responsibility when it comes to government spending. However, when you talk to a Republican or a very staunch conservative, they'll always say the same thing, which is, when you get down to the heart of it, you don't really care about government spending. You just care about where it gets spent. If we spend money on a social program that helps take care of the citizens, that's a bad thing. But if we spend, money on drones, to billions of dollars on military hardware to go, invade some foreign country, that's great. Even though the majority of wars, just remember, the majority of wars that we have fought in this country, we have been lied to about why we went to them. Gulf of Tonkin, the first invasion of Iraq, the second invasion of Iraq. Like, we do these things knowing full well.
While you're saying that, a true libertarian, which it kind of sounds like Jayson's claiming to be, they agree with that. they agree with limiting government spending on arms and war and all that. So what do you think, Jayson?
I disagree with government spending regardless of what the issue is. If we're going to have someone sitting in the government.
So you don't support the troops then?
Not when we can't afford it. No, we need to draw back on that spending.
Have you never benefited from government assistance?
I'm sure I have in some way. I'm sure everyone has.
Okay, good. At least you know.
Yeah. Wasn't great, but yeah. You got to remember, I lived in a socialist country for a long time.
He's from
I've
Canada.
never
We even had a balanced budget. No
He's
debt.
from Canada, so he's like, oh, we had health care.
Barely.
Well, yeah. See, here's my thing. Every other developed, and healthcare is a good example too, because every other developed nation on the planet has figured out some type of universal healthcare for their citizens, except us. And I think it's like Papua New Guinea is another one, but it's only two. We're the only two that hasn't figured it out. So either that means A, we're too broke and we don't have the money for it, or B, we're too stupid and we can't figure it out. Or C, and this is probably, we don't fucking care. We just don't care. Don't care about our neighbors, don't care about our communities. You know what I mean? Because your neighbor gets sick.
The government can't pass a budget. What makes you think they're going to agree on anything of substance?
Who's to blame for them not agreeing on anything of substance? So how did we get here to where they won't even fucking agree? I'll tell you,
career politicians.
When it got to the Tea Party, when conservatism got that extreme, we lost all possibility or hope of even negotiating and coming to the middle, You
have career politicians and all they care about is hating the other side.
Yes. Well, I don't even think they hate the other side. I think that they know the value of hate. They know the value of hate. And I think that is very prevalent in the GOP, because let's just be honest and lay our cards on the table here. Liberals and Democrats, they use that overly affectionate, oh, we're going to take care of you, we're going to lift you up, we're going to do this and that. And conservatives and Republicans, they're more like, somebody's going to come get you, somebody's going to take your stuff, oh, they're going to get your guns, or the immigrants are coming, or it's always fear-based. That's the whole thing, is Republicans just figured out how good a motivator fear and anger is. And they've used it. They've been running that playbook for like 20 years.
All right. This bores me. I want to talk about not politics with Jayson now. Thank you for being a good sport on politics, Jayson. Tell us about yourself. Like, who is Jayson?
Why are you doing this?
Why? This is how the podcast goes. You don't watch.
I know, because it's a terrible part and I hate this part of it. But what is a Jayson?
It's with a Y.
That's
okay. It's with a Y.
Tell us more. Where
typical liberal spelling.
What's your day job? Do you have kids?
Yeah, I got a whole fleet of kids. I drive around in a mini school bus, and I drop my kids off at every school in Palm Beach County.
You hear that, QAnon? Right there. He's one of the mules.
Yeah. No kids, no marriage, none of that craziness. I don't know. I really don't like these questions.
They don't matter. You can answer them.
Yeah.
What are you, a spy? What does it matter?
Yeah, there's not really much. I'm not an exciting person, It's not like I'm out.
You're from Canada.
From Canada?
What do you do for work?
I work 9 to 5.
Are you a job creator?
I am not a job creator, but I am a new TikTok quality creator.
I like it. Yes, we do want to talk about your TikTok. You are one of the newest members to TikTok. How do you like it?
I'm right up there with Rosie O'Donnell. We're just having so much fun together.
Oh, okay.
Why are we talking about Rosie O'Donnell twice on the show?
That's not a good punchline.
She's not even relevant anymore.
He thinks he's funny.
Who cares about Rosie O'Donnell?
She's like the #1 Trump hater. You should love her.
I don't care. I'm just saying, who is? Yeah, they had a feud going back to when she actually had a show and some relevance.
Yeah,
she ain't nobody now.
Yet she somehow still made it in a newspaper article.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares? Hmm.
All right.
Boy, this has been disastrous so far.
Disaster.
What do you do for a living, Jayson?
I'm a paralegal at a family law firm.
Okay, there you go.
Which is why you know not to have a family, huh?
Exactly.
Jayson is one of my favorite paralegals. He is not as good as me, but he's close, you know. I trust him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Or
He's definitely better than me in family law, for sure. I can't. I hate family law.
and don't let him put you off on getting married, okay? Because why? Because you might lose some money. Yeah, you might gain some too. Just really depends on who you marry. Because when I got divorced, I got money.
It's a roll of the dice.
Sort of. Anyway.
What's that? Yes,
I
I didn't get as much as I could have. That's true.
Jayson, are you gonna become a comedian?
No. Why, do you want me to? Do you want some competition out there?
I don't want you at the open mics with me, so no.
And, you don't have to worry about that.
Good.
Although there was that one time I went to no.
This is my lane, Jayson.
Remember that one time at backstage?
Terry's looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, really? Yeah, I remember.
Oh no, I'm not looking at the two people in onesies like they're crazy.
I'm gonna be wearing this next week too, all December, even after. I'm just gonna watch
Jerry,
it.
you want us to get you a Grinch onesie?
No.
Are you feeling a little left out?
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
What kind of onesie do you want? I've
At least yours is like Christmas themed. Hers is just from a gas station.
I'm modeling Buc-ee's, the Buc-ee's thing.
It's a gas station.
I've got a
give me a onesie that's a 7-Eleven on it.
7-Eleven ain't got shit on Buc-ee's.
No.
Maybe Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I guess.
First sponsor. Anyway. All right. Well, Jayson, you've been a pretty good guest. I don't know. What else do you got for him? Because we've got about 9 minutes, Terry. Unless you got 9 minutes of words for white people.
No, I don't.
I'll read what Megan's been saying. Megan's been in the chat room chatting. She said that she wanted to know if we've watched The G Word on Netflix. She said that put a lot of our governmental aspects into perspective. And she says when the vast majority is spent on military to police the world, which is much more spending on the next 25 governments and 24 of those allies. And Mike said that I guess Mike is watching with Megan, said you should do stand-up, Jayson. Tell Mike to go to hell.
I'm glad I got one fan. Thank you, Mike.
Tell Mike to go to hell. I don't want Jayson at the open mics. What do you think, Terry?
I mean, I don't see where the jokes were, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. How does the government spend so much money on military and still have not the greatest?
We do have we have the greatest military
might
the world has. Yeah, we do.
No,
we really do.
China's first.
No.
Who does? Canada?
China.
No, China just has more human capital. They don't have the greatest.
They don't have. No, they don't.
I think their armed forces are stronger.
They don't have probably because they have more arms.
No, they have.
They don't have more bombs.
More people. That doesn't make a better military. No, the United States military as it stands today is the greatest military might that literally has ever existed in human history. Like that's why I keep getting up on my soapbox about spending on military spending. It's like, when is it going to be good enough? Like between us, Russia, and China, we have enough nukes to blow up the entire world twice. I thought. What do you need?
I thought that you were like, you said we don't even need to spend any more on military. So you already know that shit, Jayson. You already know that shit. So
we need to do spending.
Just give us your TikTok so we can find you on there.
Oh, I don't know it.
Pull it up real
quick. I'll find it for you. There's one of Gio with the Grinch dancing on
content.
You
What's
can give
that?
it after Terry Wayne's words for white people. Go ahead and start that, Terry. While
Well,
Jayson.
no, I'm interested in this. So you're on TikTok, but are you producing content?
I am. So I posted a video of Gio Pasto on a rollaway bed on the middle of the floor in her favorite onesie that she is currently wearing with the Grinch
Passed out. I
dancing
was
on top of her.
dancing to Drake, just vertically, like horizontally. I was
Yeah.
standing down.
Well, let him tell the fucking story.
Yeah. You're
Okay.
passed out on a pillow couch bed. And so it's
And
Jayson, Terry, Matt. Up in St. Augustine.
Okay, and what happened? Where's the entertaining part?
It's just one of my TikTok videos. If you know, you know, Terry.
I guess I don't know.
I
guess
don't even know that Terry goes on TikTok at all.
Terry,
I
you
don't.
should join. I just joined recently. It's entertaining.
No, I have an account on there. I just don't go on it.
Jayson, did you find it? What's your TikTok?
Yeah, Jayson period MATH.
Spell your name.
That's
though.
Jayson with a Y.
Jayson with a Y.
Jayson period what?
MATH.
Jayson period math.
Math.
All right.
That math don't add up, I don't think.
So Terry Wayne, what are your words for white people?
Well, I just keep seeing the holidays coming, and I know that I'll be with my family, and as many of you know, most of my family's very conservative, as was I for a long time. Just leave it at the door. Just leave the politics at the door. You can still enjoy things. Keep if you know that your grandfather's obviously, if your grandfather's a Fox News guy and he gives you that little poke, that little prod, he's like, I'm having a really good time with you guys, hanging out with the whole family. Yeah, I know. It's too bad we, had to trade away because they'll always give you little baiting questions. It's too bad we had to trade away a international criminal though to get that black girl home or what. Like they give you those bait. Just let it go. Just enjoy a thing. I'm so fucking sick of politics all the time. I really am. Like we used to have fun. I miss it. I miss just having fun and not having to worry about, who's going to end up fighting with who. So, I'm making a very considerable effort this holiday season to just not talk about any of that shit. Just turn it off. Turn it off for a month. Be a little nicer to each other without knowing who they voted for. It feels good. If somebody's got an American flag in the back of their truck and a Trump Pence sticker and all that, just, okay, still hold the door open for them, just for a few weeks out of the year. Let's just be a little nicer to each other and stop worrying about what a bunch of stuffy politicians in Washington want to make us think and just be fucking human beings. All right, can we do that just from now to the end of the year? Can we just do that? Right?
Oh, Terry, that's so wholesome and sweet.
Yeah, just take your politics.
That's like appropriate because we got Jayson on.
Yeah.
Seeing him, we'll probably all be hanging out this holidays. And what I will try to make an effort to do is not talk about politics on the next episode, except we are going to have to talk about how Elon Musk got booed at the Dave Chappelle show, but that's kind of not political. That's more comic. So, but next show, we'll kind of keep it light.
Doesn't matter. It's not even politics. That's how crazy politics are now. They've infused into everything. How the fuck is Elon Musk a political thing? He's not a politician.
Yeah, he's a part of the bourgeoisie class, Terry. If you don't know how
he's an eccentric billionaire with autism.
Whatever. All right, Terry, do you have anything coming up soon?
Yes, Christmas. And you should all have a nice one.
All right. I will see anyone who cares to come out this Friday at Swampgrass Willie's. Sillies at Willie's. And I think it starts at 8:00. So I'll be there.
Yeah, have fun with that.
I will. They like me. I had fun last time I went up. I know it was rough, one of those times, but I think the way they're doing it now is it's a little bit better because it's more like an open mic style, and then they'll have some of us up. The last show I went to wasn't too bad, but Jackie's running.
Wasn't I on the last one?
No. Were you on the run since Jackie's been co-hosting?
Oh no, I didn't even know about that. No, the last one I was on the first one back with Fat Shops.
No, I was on the first one, and then y'all are on the second one. But anyway, it don't matter.
Okay.
I'm the house favorite, not you anymore. So chill.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
You win. You're the king of the garbage dump.
You're so agreeable lately. I don't like it. All right, Terry. Jayson, thank you for joining us. Until next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in and meeting my friends.